Oh my God, we did it. We hit 69,000 subs.
Nice.
Well done, my friends. In honor of this momentous occasion, here's some YouTube comments. What is your funniest critical failure moment? Part 4. Short, yet hilarious. I'm playing a ranger and aiming an arrow at a hawk flying overhead for food due to it being a windy day. I have a penalty to hit. I rolled a hit and nat 20. I got dinner. DM tells me to roll again. I do. The DM describes me perfectly hitting the hawk as it flies into the wind, only for the wind to throw the hawk's impaled body back towards me and kill me as its corpse lands on my face, and my own arrow goes through my eye and into my brain. The DM admits they made 3 rolls on what happened after I hit the hawk. Gust chance, gust strength, hawk's ragdoll. My roll was perception. I completely failed to notice how the hawk I just shot was suddenly moving directly towards me, briefly wondering if time had somehow stopped before dying. I was the DM, was running a relatively long adventure, and the group was mid-level. One character had befriended, made a henchman/follower of, a nymph. For anyone unaware, nymphs are beautiful and graceful, with impressive natural stats. This nymph was crit failing so many hide and move silently checks as the party crept around. I jokingly rolled a dex check to see if she could even walk. Nat 1 on a walk check. Became a running joke I still reference from time to time. I had been playing a low-level centaur paladin with Greek Spartan-style armor. My friends were an elf and a half-dragon barbarian that is introduced by attacking our small town. I was getting decent rolls for mostly kicking people to death. I had started getting worse rolls up to the barbarian mounting me, grabbing my helmet from my head, and beating my skull in with my own helmet. I had rolled to rodeo her off my back. I had fallen over instead, enabling the half-dragon to beat my skull in more thoroughly. I went from about 15 to 20 hit points to 1 to 5 hit points in 2 turns. I was DM with a party of 5, 2 half-elves, a dwarf, a gnome, and a human. They were supposed to venture from the starting town through the mountains to look for a lost party who was last seen in a cave. This journey was about 40 miles. Fast forward to the second day of the journey, and I was able to lure them down into a hidden cave at the bottom of the well, where I was going to give them some loot and a shortcut to their destination. Our wizard illuminated 2 rocks to use as lanterns, and they were navigating very cautiously, as they had almost been wiped in their last battle the day before. The gnome wizard wanted to throw one of the rocks further into the dark cave to illuminate it, but the human barbarian wanted to throw his instead, for reasons we still don't know to this day. I tell the human to roll a d20. He rolls a nat 1. He flings the rock deep into the cave and aggroes every single mob. After an hour-long, real-time battle, they successfully defeated all of the cave's inhabitants, which were mostly bugs and giant spiders. I tell them to roll perspective to see what they can loot. The human barbarian, the same guy who rolled a nat 1 and alerted the whole cave, walked over to a statue in the corner of the cave and rolled a perception check. He rolled another nat 1. He touched the statue, but slipped and knocked the whole thing over, causing the cave to collapse in on itself. A giant boulder fell from above him, and he missed a DC 10 athletics save, so the boulder crushed his legs, pinning him to the ground. The party spent 20 minutes debating if they wanted to save the barbarian or not, and I told them the cave is going to collapse in 4 turns. They hesitated, but went back for their friend, who they ultimately left behind anyway because he couldn't walk. That hesitation cost them a whole turn, and the cave collapsed, and they all wiped. I had a eulogy and told them that the party they were looking for was actually them. They had only traveled 3 miles from the starting town. Had a guy re-roll a character after his original died. He was a farmhand we'd rescued a few sessions earlier. Wielding a basic pitchfork like a trident, he was inspired by our party's fighter, me, to become a master of polearm combat and see the world and do some good in it. Now, typically, we wouldn't allow more than 1 fighter in the party, so he decided last minute because of his character's youth, enthusiasm, good moral standing, and prowess with 2-handed weapons. He'd been training as a paladin since he'd gotten a second chance at life. So the party rolls into town, sees him in his shiny new armor, and invites him into the fold. We venture out of town, make camp for the night. He takes first watch, fails his perception check, nat 1. His throat was slit. The ranger was out hunting, about to take the next watch. He saw the whole thing happen. His scream alerted us. My half-orc fighter fought off 3 brigands while naked, one of them barehanded after I nat 1'd an attack roll and dropped my glaive. Best part of it all, our rogue and bard snuck out of their tent. High stealth checks. The bard used his blanket to look like an angry ghost, aced his performance check. As the brigands ran away, the rogue threw knives, I threw javelins, and the ranger and bard used bows. And we managed to kill most of them and maim 1. While I questioned him, the ranger called his steed, a rideable wolf, and jetted with the paladin to try and resurrect him. It succeeded. We still tease him about being blind as a bat, and with his moral do-goodery, sometimes we call his PC Batman or Brucey. That's cute. Oh boy. I have one that happened pretty recent. I was the DM, and this happened to one of my players. A little background first, we were playing in Ravnica, aka the Plane of 10 Guilds. No one in the party was part of the same guild, and this particular player was from Rakdos. For those not familiar with Ravnica, the Guild of Rakdos is basically a circus run by a demon. It's bloody, psychotic, and quite fun to play as. Also, this player was a warlock, whom I told could have the Demon Lord as her patron. Anywho, she also decided she was going to make her character enthusiastic to get NPCs into bed. I shut her down a few times that night. Yeah, he's not into you because he's gay. She's married and no, does not want to have a threesome, but she was determined to bed someone before the night was over. Okay, fine. You find an NPC willing to do the do with you, roll a straight charisma check to see how good it is. Nat 1. I'd take a deep breath and set up what is going on. As the rest of the players are using the long rest to relax and prepare for the rest of the adventure, a loud, piercing shriek can be heard from her room. The NPC pushes his way out and is scrambling down the hall, tripping on his own feet as he is racing to get as far away as possible. Inside the room, our player is screaming in a demonic voice.
Now you better run. I'm tired of this fucking happening.
TLDR, my player tried to sex an NPC and got cock-blocked by Rakdos himself. Hello, my savory, spicy little Cuban-style potato balls of infinite brilliance and wonder. Thank you for sending all the steaming, hot, frothy attention you have all the way to the very end of this video. You absolute fucking legend. God damn, I love it so much. May the tales told today till tactics, truths, tingles, and toil in the fertile, succulent, virginal soil that is your D&D stories yet to come. If you're new here, feel free to say hello or share your D&D stories in the comments. If you're not, type 69. Feel free to cop some awesome coffee from our D&D friends at Adventurers Coffee Company. Helps us out, helps them out. I'm sure Rip posted the link in the description or the comments, so hook it up with that sweet, sweet Mr. Ripper discount code if you know you love Daddy. Now, Rip Daddy loves you. Rip Daddy loves you so very much indeed. And all Papa wants for that bright, promising future... and all Papa wants... And all Papa wants for that bright, promising future of yours is for you to roll hot fucking fire at your next tabletop gaming session. And right now, less than a quarter of you angels of sheer, unbridled cosmic delight and infinite wisdom watching this are rolling hot fire. 69,000 of you have already joined us in the quest for better rolls, which is literally the greatest milestone anybody could ever hope to hit in all of existence. Shoot, it's all gravy from here. This is it. This is the pinnacle. Why keep rolling ones? Other 77% of those out there watching, your sweet little pooper already landed on this video and got this far for a reason. I bet you've eaten shit consistently for a while in a session. Well, let me tell you what, my crispy, fluffy, satisfying, delightful little potato balls. There is but one way, and one way only, to get more Nat 20s. And that is to subscribe to this channel today. You deserve to. Rip Daddy loves you, munchkins. We'll see you next time. Thank you.